Hey everybody, welcome to Your Unpaid Therapist.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Your Unpaid Therapist.
I'm not getting paid. I didn't even get a donut.
Oh, that's sexy though. I like it.
I'm Valery Milagros Ortiz.
I don't know.
I am your host, Alikona. She's away. Bradford. This is Your Unpaid Therapist. Shoo-wah, cha-cha. Hi, everybody. Welcome. We're so excited to have you here. You are tuning into Your Unpaid Therapists, which is, well, we are, basically, for each other and for you, always.
I'm Valery Ortiz.
Oh, yeah, huh? It helps us say who you are. Yes.
They know, right?
Yes.
At this point, I hope.
But just in case, if you're new, if this is your first episode with us, my name is Alikona Bradford, and our fabulous special guest, who actually is a therapist, we're just not paying him.
I'm not getting paid. I didn't even get a donut.
Not a donut next time. Is
Hi, yeah. Hello.
what's your name?
My name's Matt Marr. Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me here. Excited to be.
Yeah, so today we're going to tackle harnessing the power to say no, which I'm fucking terrible at, you guys. I'm getting better, though. But anyways, Matt's really good at it, by the way. So
Yeah.
good. In a
Really?
very gracious way.
Oh,
I can't
he's-
tell you how many times I pitched the idea of doing something with him, and he's like, sugar, I would love to, but my schedule just doesn't allow.
It doesn't.
But I love
it.
that. I mean,
I mean, we'll get into it, but I think part of learning to say no is if you're a type of person like I am where you set an expectation for yourself, when you're saying yes, you're often thinking about the other person. And so when you're saying no, I realized I'm saying no because I have an expectation of how I would do this. I can't meet my own expectation of this. I would do a really shitty job at this. And that's just not how I want to do things for myself. And I'll disappoint you. So that's kind of where that's helped me.
yeah, and it's true. But before we get
I know,
super
I just
into
went
it,
in.
no,
Sorry.
but I like it. Our tradition, if you are new here, is we do a little round of Never Have I Ever. We pick some cards and we kind of just go with whatever the card says. So I'm gonna start this time.
do it.
I didn't glue this so great. Okay. Never have I ever
Glued something
Say
together
that.
before.
trespassed on public property.
I know someone has. Not you brought that laugh.
Guilty. Probably, but no, I can't think of a cool story to go with it. I don't know. Wah wah. Boring. You go. You said.
I
you
have.
said
I
excited.
have. I don't think anybody's going to find it exciting except for myself. But when I lived in Vegas, myself and this person that I was actually dating at the time snuck into Wet and Wild, which sounds terrible. Hold on. Wait.
The water
It's a
park?
water park. This is a water
The water
park.
park.
That's what I thought it was, and then I was like, yes, and then I was like, wait, it might be different. And
You never know in Vegas.
Realized-
Okay, Val.
No, because I said Vegas and someone I used to date, and then that just really.
Yeah.
I wish it was the other story though.
I know.
Okay, guys, I snuck into this. No,
That would be called Wild and Wet.
There you go.
Oh my god. But yeah, the park was closed. They were actually shutting it down to relocate. So me and this person snuck in and took a bunch of pictures, like going down all the slides and stuff.
Wow.
I know.
That's commitment.
It really is.
Because there was no water, so it was just slides, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Why?
I don't know. We just thought it'd be fun.
But without the water, I think it would have been fun if I didn't know that there
Thanks
was
for
any
asking
water.
and giving me away, Matt.
I was like, that's
I
so
think
fun.
it still would be fun with because you're still going down the slides.
You could
and
still
stuff
go
like-
down without
Yeah,
the water.
you can still go slides.
Yeah.
It probably was very dangerous without the water. We're probably lucky that you're here, Alikona. Yeah.
That's what I'm imagining.
Yeah, just boom, 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 boom. Wow.
Especially in the heat of Vegas.
It was nighttime though. We snuck in at night when the park was
okay.
closed.
Then
Yeah.
I
now it's getting
love
more
shit
exciting.
like that.
Yeah.
I think that I would love I always imagine like when I go to Six Flags or Disneyland, like what it'd be like to hide out and just be there, like like not at the museum kind of vibe, something like that.
Something like
Have
that
you
would be-
ever snuck into anywhere?
I remember when I was a kid, one time my brother and I snuck into my Uncle Andy's office, who just lived like 3 blocks down from our house. So it wasn't really a public place, but we snuck into his office because we wanted to he had ice cream bars. And every time we would see my Uncle Andy, he would give us an ice cream bar. Well, everybody called him AW, but we called him Uncle Andy. So anyway, he ran for governor one time of Oklahoma, but he had to leave the state because he had a warrant out for his arrest. But that's another story.
dang.
Uncle Andy was a character. But anyway, and he was a character because we went into Uncle Andy, and so we were looking for the ice cream. My brother started looking around, and he found a stack of Playboys, and that's the first time I saw boobs, and I knew I was a homosexual. So that was the first and last time I snuck on public property.
That is so funny.
Besides boobs.
It's true, though. It's true.
So you had the ice cream and the Playboy.
That's true.
Is
Yes, that's what I had.
Okay, it's my turn.
Yes,
Never have I ever. Never have I ever. Hold on. Wait.
I'm sorry, y'all. I ran out of my
that's not
glue
good.
stick.
That's
and
okay.
So, some of them are sticking
Oh,
together.
What's that
I
one?
have ever. Shit, I wasn't supposed to say that before I read the question. My bad. Never have I ever stayed with strange men in a foreign country.
Oh,
Wait,
Oops.
get the card.
sign me up for that one.
It's not. I mean, it's not as glorious as it sounds. So, I'm an adventurer and a traveler, and I wanted to go to Italy. And my friend was like, "Oh, I know some guy who's a friend of a friend of a friend who dated a friend of mine."
It's a lot of friends.
Yeah, and she gave me his email address, and she's like, "If you just email him, like maybe he'll give you a place to stay." And I said, "Okay, but I'm gonna get to know this person." So over the course of a few months, me and this person would email back and forth, not like interested romantically, just whatever. And I was probably 22, 23, and he was 28. So to me, I was like, that's old. And he lived with his parents. So I was like, how dangerous could you be? You're 28 and you live with your mom and dad, which is very common in Europe, Italy. And so I just hopped on a plane, and my friend was like, yeah, I'll meet you there. Okay, cool. And so I flew in at 9 a.m. and she wasn't going to get in until 9 p.m. And I remember getting off the plane and then going, what the hell am I doing? I don't know anybody here. And I definitely don't know this person, but I'm just going to go walk into the lobby and hope that these people are real nice. Or this person, which he showed up with 8 of his friends. It was an American girl. They were like, woo, okay. So there were 8.
You're the American girl, so they were all like,
One American
Whoa.
girl and 8 Italian men.
"Ooh,
Yeah.
this is a movie."
Sign me up.
But it was cute. They had this sign that was like benvenuto, which means welcome, and then all these weird phrases like the cat is under the table, and just random shit they learned in English class.
That's
Yeah.
so cute.
Yeah, but they didn't speak English to me until the end of the night because they were all shy. So then I was even more like, what the fuck am I doing? Because my Italian is very minimal too. And I spent the whole day in Venice like, ooh, this is so awkward.
You
But
know,
yeah, it got good.
what is it? How long have we been on? Not very long. And I just feel like I want to know more.
I
So
know.
if you're new to us and new to Alikona, like this, I mean, you're sneaking into water parks at night. You're like meeting 8 Italian men. I mean, come
You do some
on.
dumb shit, but it's fun.
Come on. You're welcome, everybody.
It gets better.
I know, that's
It
what
gets
I'm saying.
better.
This is so exciting. I have nothing. What about you? Like,
I don't even remember the question. Oh, if I stayed with I have not stayed with someone. I haven't. I wish, but I have not.
Okay.
I have
Well,
not.
let's let you never have I ever.
Okay, I think I'm gonna pick a yellow one. I don't feel like I've picked a lot of yellow. Or did we already pick a yellow?
I picked one yellow, but it's okay.
Oh.
How you gonna read the question?
Never
and be
have I
like,
ever sabotaged a friend because you both like the same person. I have not. Like, people ask, because on my podcast, my friend is also, we're called Reality Gay, so he's gay too, and we've been friends for like 20 years. And they're always all like, oh, do y'all like go for the same man? And luckily, I will say, find a bestie who has a totally different type than you. We never like the same guy. And well, also I jokingly say 2 bottoms don't make a night. But so like I don't think I would ever sabotage a friend, because I would be like, I mean, I'll be honest, like, ain't no dick that special.
No.
You know what I mean? It's just not.
I love
It's
how
just,
we're like, no.
Y'all went, no. What about y'all?
not sabotage. I remember in middle school, because one of my best friends, Karina, and I, we just weren't the cool girls, blah blah blah, and we talk about this all the time. We were super shy and whatever, and there was one day that we were like, okay, like on the count of 3, like both of us are gonna say who we think is like cute, and we're like 1, 2, 3. We're like Pablo, and we're like ah! Like we both thought Pablo was so cute. But that's it. It was just like super funny, and so whatever. And Pablo didn't like either of us, and it was what it was. And we were attracted to kind of the same guys. And I'm in middle school, the pools, small.
Yeah.
But now we're not. Or, well, maybe, I don't know.
I love that the last time you were single was like in middle school, and then
That's not the last time I was single. Dang, listen, this is how rumors are starting.
Yeah. Back up.
back it up. No, but no, sabotage. Hell no. Because again, it's kind of like what you were saying. There is no man that would ever come between a friend and I. Like
Magic Mike.
No,
I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
None. Literally none.
Kidding.
Like, sorry, y'all, none. Nothing. What about you?
No, I've never sabotaged anybody. Never been sabotaged. I have, when I was in high school, liked somebody that, like I was a cheerleader. So I was an acquaintance with somebody who was also a cheerleader, and we'd say hello. And I thought her boyfriend was really cute, and we were friends. But other than that, that's as shady as I get.
So we are good people. That's what I'm coming.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That was a funny one. I had the boring one.
Yeah. Did you want a fun one? Do you want to do another one?
No, it was a fun one. It was boring for me. You took all the fun for it, so it was perfect.
Alikona's just lived more of a life than us, Val.
That's what it seems like. And this is why we're good. We balance each other out, right? Because where I'm boring, she's gonna be fun.
Yeah. It's where I do dumb shit.
No, I love it. It's so exciting.
Our topic, yes.
No.
You know. No,
yes. No.
No.
The topic
No.
is say no.
I know.
Say no.
Just say no. Do you remember that dare?
Yes.
Yeah, oh golly, just
I
say
love
no.
dare. It worked for me. I never did drugs, you guys, ever.
Really?
I've never been drunk.
Gosh. Now you just got boring. Yes.
Yeah.
Score. Okay. You've never been drunk and you haven't done drugs. Okay. Balance.
Balance. Hashtag balance.
Hashtag balance. This wasn't even a question, but I'm glad you brought it up.
We've learned so much. You're spilling all the tea. What's in your drink, sugar?
Okay. So yeah. So why? And we've talked about this a lot. Obviously, the whole saying no, the people pleasing. Why was it so important for you to talk about that? Like, in it being, obviously it's relatable.
It's a superpower that I'm learning how to harness, but I think that we go through a lot of our lives not knowing how to say no. I mean, unless you come up privileged and maybe, when I say privilege your parents taught you, or privilege, like legit privileged and you just don't care. But it's been super, like, I always, can you do this for me? Yeah, sure. And even though it switches my schedule around, I'll still do it. And sometimes it's so subconscious, like stuff like that, where if somebody needs something, I will bend over backwards to make this happen or that happen. Or you guys, everybody in this room, even my crew. Ooh, that sounded so pretentious. My crew. No, we are a team.
I'm not judging. There's a team.
But everyone here knows that, like, I dog sit and I have like multiple people. I'm always at somebody's house, and if some date doesn't work out, I'm trying to rearrange my life so I can make sure that I'm there for them. And I have a life too, and I have projects I want to work on, but I'm not working on them because then I'm an expert, you guys, at having guilt feelings and guilting myself to where I don't do stuff because I feel bad. Oh, I feel bad. This person is there. Okay, I'll just work on this project tomorrow. There's always tomorrow. So yeah.
You and like what I hear right away is you're comfortable and you've gotten comfortable and so used to being able to disappoint yourself, but you don't want to disappoint other people.
Yes.
And so many of us do that. And we were talking about this a little bit earlier, but like, at what age, or has it changed for you? Like, is that something that started when you were younger?
Oh, yeah.
Which I know we've talked about, which I would probably say yes, but like, how is it different now?
Well, I'm gonna ooh, not
Back
hit
it
the
up.
mic. That's
Back-
what I'm not
back
going
it
to do,
up.
but I'm going to I'm going to back it up real quick from my early childhood. And just say that because I grew up in a home and an environment where not excelling was not okay, and not doing what was expected of me was not okay. So, and even if it was like, you need to learn how to speak up, you need to learn how to speak up, speak your mind. And I was such a quiet child. So when I did speak up, if the opinion that I had was not of the liking of my father, then all of a sudden it was like, well, you don't know what you're talking about. You're just an airhead, and da da da. And I'd be called all sorts of names. So it's like this weird trying to figure out. But you told me to speak up, but I'm not supposed to speak up because when I do, I'm wrong. So when you're a
Right.
kid, you learn that your opinion is not valid. So you just keep your opinion to yourself, and you tippy toe around other people because you don't want to be on the receiving end of someone else's anger. And again, that's a child adult relationship. So that's why it's such a strong innate feeling that my brain made these electrical connections. So as an adult, even though I know better, instinctually, my subconscious guides me to behave as I did as a child. Now, what has changed is that I've done a lot of work on myself. I'm still not an expert at no by any means, but I've gotten better because I realize sometimes when I'm doing the thing to make someone else's life easier versus my own.
I think you illustrated such a great point of when I did school and therapy school and all that, and then I started seeing clients. I think I went into doing therapy thinking a lot of people think, but why do I do this? What is my why? And a lot of times that's we're all actors, like, what is your why and all that da 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 da. But I thought about, honestly, like, I've done a lot of improv training. I mean, improv, it's all about the where, what, when. The why isn't really ever there. It's about all the other stuff. And I thought, well, what if kind of I like think about this in therapeutic terms? A lot of times we know the why. We know the why. It's so I actually found with my clients, it wasn't for most of them figuring out why they do something. A lot of us know why, but it is the what, when, how, like, how does it show up? What behaviors does it cause? When do I need to acknowledge these behaviors? When do I need to change them? What can I do that's a different behavior than I've been doing that disconnects me from that why? To me, it's all the other stuff that's the really hard part. Like, that awareness comes, and I feel like you just opened the book. That's what I feel like.
So many things went through my head when you said that. Especially specifically the the why. Going back to how I relate to the saying no and now kind of correlating it with the why situation. So I was in a relationship for a really, really long time. And I wouldn't say so much of like being a people pleaser or anything like that, but I think there was a point that I wanted commitment and I want children and whatever. I'm getting older. And a lot of stuff happened in the relationship, so the timing wasn't right. But after things, and we've talked about this, after things kind of like slowed down or whatever, then there was that point where it's just like, okay, like, what's going on? And we had the conversation a lot. And that was kind of when I left that and was just like, okay, like, no, like, I can't keep doing this. And again, like, the hardest thing is walking away from somebody you're still in love with because they don't know why, according to them, they can't commit or don't want the same things or whatever. They can't. So their thing was, and we talked about going to therapy, whatever, that didn't happen, but his whole thing was like, I don't know why. So to hear you say, and I agree with you, like, I'm like, bull fucking shit. You know why. You're afraid to say it. You don't want to, whatever. You're being selfish, all the things. You don't want to pinpoint it. You don't want to let me go. So many things. I don't know. But like, I agree. Like, I think we all do know why. Now, why we don't admit it or why. So I'm curious is like, so all the other things that don't come up, I don't know, but I do agree. Like, I do think it's bullshit when somebody says, I don't know why.
I 100, yeah, that's been my experience. And
Yeah.
I think what that ties into, like, this idea of for me, I mean, I felt a little bad. I was like, do I always tell Alikona no? 'Cause you said,
He does, though. He really does, except for this. He said yes to this, and I was like, oh my God, okay.
No, but see, like, thank you, though. But I think that's, one, you're hella freaking busy. So,
my life is stupid busy, right? But it's finally busy
Sorry
with
too,
the
Michael.
stuff I wanted to be busy with. Well, and I think also, too, it's...
Hold on, let me just crawl over you.
Oh, yeah. I've worked... Luckily, our podcast took off and like it's now become my life. And so it's just, that's the thing that's on fire right now. And it's the thing I've dreamt about. So it's just, I kind of, my dream is on fire right now and I want to give it all of my fuel. And so that's a lot of that too. But I do love with podcasting. I feel like other podcasters really try to support other podcasters because the more we uplift podcasting, the more it just helps podcasts, I think, in general. But you probably think being no is hard. I'm people pleaser too, and so that was something that and so for me, the reason how I developed telling no is that I lost friendships because I would say yes to people and then fail them. And so the thing I was afraid of was if I don't say yes, then someone's not going to like me or they're not going to be around me. And because I kept saying yes, I've self-fulfilled that prophecy, and that's what happened. Because I said yes to something, and then I couldn't back it up and do my shit. And I upset people. I disappointed people. I hurt their feelings. I made them feel not a priority at all. And they did the right thing and said, I need to have a friend or a business or someone who follows their word and shows up. So it's not the best way to learn to say no. It sucked. But I don't always learn things the quickest or the easiest. So that's why where I'm like, okay, well, somebody might be a little disappointed now, but maybe I won't be able to work on a project with them, but I'll still like go to dinner with them and let them and connect with them, So anyway.
He did take me to pizza.
I did take it to pizza.
That's the best.
Are you good at no?
I'm so much better at no. Honestly, like after you don't know this, so I went through a divorce, said no to that, and chose myself. After this last relationship, I was with a guy for almost 7 years. We didn't quite get there, but that after that and spending some time alone and just really honing in on like the things that I need to do for me and doing that and leaving that was huge. Now I've gotten so much better at saying no, and not in like a mean way, but in like because I've realized, especially spending so much time alone, how much I need to charge. And how specific those things are. And like, like there's certain like, okay, no, I need, which is weird because I was never want to be alone chick. And now I'm like, no, I need quiet time. I need my space. I need time alone. No, I need to do this workout. And we're very similar with that. Like I need to release. So it's gotten so much easier saying no very similarly because I just know like, if I'm not charged up, like I'm not going to be there with you. Like I'm going to be here,
Can I just say, I am so proud of you because I do remember we have been friends throughout. I met you when you were married. I knew you when you were going through your divorce. I knew you when you were in your 6, almost 7-year relationship. And when that ended, I know being alone was scary for you because you were, think about like since high school with somebody. And so you really embraced being alone and doing things by yourself and getting to know yourself. And that's such a cool thing to watch. And then I always congratulate Val because when you were on the dating scene, if there was something you didn't like, you were quick to be like, okay, no, I'm good. I'm too nice for that shit. Like I'd be like, oh, I feel bad. And you're like, nope. I remember Val, you guys. Hilarious. Hilarious.
This is the whole other episode.
Because let me tell you, Matt, okay, and I'm going to try to keep my mouth this way.
No, that's fine.
I'm not looking at you, but no, I'm just kidding. So Val is, online dating or whatever, and she met this guy, and
I don't know where this is
going. Yeah, she did.
I'm excited.
Val, I love that you weren't scared. You're like, you leaned in.
I was like, ooh, which one she's gonna choose?
Well, first of all, people lie. people lie on their profiles, and the common one is that they're taller in their profile than they are in real life. So already the guy shows up and he's like shorter than what he said he was gonna be, and then Bella was like, he had these really tiny hands.
Oh.
They were just that was the first no. And then she said, I just couldn't see myself like holding hands with him, and we had dinner, and I just kept looking at his tiny hands.
By the way, you gave him way more credit. So we never even went to dinner. This man wanted to do a wine and a walk. Showed up with no wine. We walked to Trader Joe's, y'all. Like, he got water. It was just all bad. Then he said he was 6 feet tall. We were locking eyes. Like, there was no looking.
Put my chin up. 5'3", you guys.
Yeah, 5'2.5", but 5. It doesn't matter. Like, dead on looking at this man straight in the face. I was like, but why? Like, why? Like, I'm gonna see you. So, like, right away, I'm like, this is awful. And then, his hands, I forgot about they were just so small.
Wow.
I like hands. That's really random, but I like a man's hands.
No,
I'm attracted to, like, some good hands.
I like hands
Fun
too.
fact.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because if they're I don't know.
Well, it makes sense. A lot of people, I'm not, but a lot of people are into feet. So if
True,
somebody's into feet, why can't somebody be into hands?
Yeah, not that I'm just like, oh, nope.
I got a cousin. She's into ears. No lie.
Really?
Loves your
I never
ears.
heard that one.
When we were little kids, she played with our ears, and then when she would date, I was like, "Who are you dating?" She's like, "Oh, I'm dating Scott. He's got the cutest ears." And I'm like, "Whatever, girl. Whatever."
That is so funny. I like that one.
You do you. I don't get that. I mean, also too, it's why would you want to date someone who lies so much? I haven't even started into the online dating. I mean, I think like, whenever I've mentioned before on the show that like my father passed away, and I went home to take care of him, to caretake for him. And after my dad passed, and we were glad he was not suffering anymore. But I kind of said to the universe, I don't want to take care of anybody anymore. And so I got my, this is years later, a year later, I'm like, I'm all woo woo. I got my tarot cards. I took half a gummy. I'm feeling good. I'm like, tarot cards, do I need to start dating now? Cause I was like 6 months out of a relationship, and the tarot cards basically were like, no, bitch. And I was like, but really? You know what I mean? So then later that night, I was like, well, you know what? I'll download Grindr again. It's been a long time. And so, like, Grindr, I first was all like, I put it on my phone. It was like, bitch, where you been? Like, it didn't know. No, but it was like dusting cobwebs. 'Cause I've never really, like you, I was in the online dating was starting to happen. Apps were more of a hookup thing. So I've never done the online dating thing either yet. And because I still don't want to date right now. And I know I don't want to date because I open the Grindr app and like I filled out my profile, did all the stuff again, put a picture up, and I'm sitting there and I hear like, and I was like, oh, first message. And I pulled it up, and this guy said he didn't have his picture on his profile. And I was like, what? And he said, hi. And then like you see like on a text that they're sending something. I was like, oh, he's going to send a picture. He sent me a picture of himself in a diaper.
Stop. Wow.
And I was like, the universe just said, bitch, you said you don't want to take care of anybody, so I'm going to give you this asshole in a diaper that you're going to have to take care of his ass. And I went, no! And I threw my phone across the room. And I deleted the app. She's not ready. I'm not ready.
Wow.
I'm not shaming. If you want to be in a diaper, that's fine.
Listen, we're not diaper shaming. I am
but
just
that's
laughing
not my
at
life.
The universe, like shouting at you.
And I think that is, and I bring that up because that's another reason I try to say no now, because why I know you're like, how we go, but it's true. Because why I think we don't say no is because it's an avoidance of pain or discomfort. And so we don't say no in the moment because we don't want to be uncomfortable. But what I've learned is that if I say no now, then it'll be maybe a little discomfort. If I say yes now, it's probably going to lead to pain or guilt or shame or resentment and all that kind of stuff. And so it's just, that is probably the thing. If I could go back and tell my 13-year-old self, like, be really good at saying no.
Yeah. And I wonder, like, I kind of feel like culturally, at least for me, and I'd say maybe for you, I'm not sure, I don't want to speak for you, but like, and just relationship wise too, like, you know, my mom, she was always the doer. She did all the things. She didn't say no. You know, she did the dinner, she worked, you know, she took my brother here and me over here. My dad was taken care of, like all the things. And so seeing that growing up was hella normal. But now as a woman, and I'll never forget, like when I went through my divorce, my mom came, you know, helped me, you know, move out, blah, blah, blah. And we took a trip to the Grand Canyon, and we had the best, like, woman to woman, like best friend conversations where I got to just know my mom as a woman, which was so amazing. And then also realize like that everything that she was and that I saw her be wasn't, she did because that's what she saw, but not because it's who she is. And even knowing that is like, dang, you know, and it almost made me feel a little sad for my mom, because my mom is outgoing. She would be traveling. She'd probably be in school. There's so many things that she would do. And I'm like, dang, but it was so interesting for me, because I was like, that's where my pattern started, clearly, you know. And like, I thought I needed to get married and do things like this. And then I was kind of in another relationship not too long after, you know. It's just like, because that's what you did. You were in a relationship and then you wanted to get married and then you had kids. And so seeing that my mom not very just saying yes to all the things made that feel super normal.
That actually hit a spot, like for me, because my mother was the breadwinner in our family. My dad had wonderful intentions. He was intelligent, too intelligent sometimes, because other people didn't get him. He'd be light years ahead of everybody else, inventing things, all sorts of things. But he also had demons, right? So he was an alcoholic as well. And I think that prohibited him from excelling in life, that and depression. But because of those things, my mom was the caretaker. My mom went to work. My dad sat on the couch. He either sat on the porch when we lived in North Carolina and stared out into the abyss and came up with the ideas, started companies. They would fail back to back, and each failure led to more depression. And here's my mom, like, coming home after 8-9 hours of work, cooking dinner for everybody. Once I went plant-based, she was cooking 2 different dinners for everybody, and just handling everything. The bills. My dad had debt. She was helping pay off his debt because he'd have an invention and an idea and spend a bunch of money and it wouldn't work out. At one point, she's gonna be,
girl, write the script.
Don't listen to this. Don't listen to this, Mom. But I mean, at one point, he took like $10,000 out of their savings, thinking he was gonna make a bunch of money, patenting this idea, and it didn't work out. And I remember being very little and hearing her on the phone, calling him, like crying and yelling at the same time. And my mom is not a yeller. Freaked out because she saw the bank account. And you know, back in the day, I'm not going to say what decade it was because it might age me, but back in those days, $10,000 was a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, so all that to say is my mother was a caretaker and she paid for everything. So now as an adult, it's like, even when I'd go on dates, it feels really weird to have somebody pay. And you guys know, like, I am in a relationship, and when we first started dating, even then I was like, I should offer to pay my half, because my mom even would take me to dinner and we'd go Dutch. And people would be like, wait, you went Dutch with your mom? Like, well, yeah, I got to pay my share, you know? And so it's taken me time, and we do go out, and now my partner and I, we take turns paying. But even there's always that, whether it shows or not, I don't know, he's listening, but there's always that deep-seated guilt, like when this other person pays and I'm like, oh, I should be doing that. Whereas most women, it's like, no, he's taking you out, like he should pay for you. I'm like, I just don't come from that. It's so foreign to me.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about that, and that is interesting. I think
It's hard to let people take care of you.
It is.
Yeah, that too. My mom was the caretaker, so it's like
hard, yeah.
Especially when you're so used to being that person.
It's so funny. We talked on a previous show about fear of failure. And it's a movie that was nominated. I think Colin. It was an animated movie that was, I think, either won the Oscar or was nominated for like animated short. But it's this beautiful scene of this kid riding a horse, and there's like a horse and a fox, and they're all whatever talking. And he asked the fox. It's Colin. Not Colin Farrell. Colin. Oh, I'm terrible with names. But anyway, He's him saving Mr. Banks. Anyway, but he the line it says, "What's the bravest thing you've ever done?" And the fox says, "Ask for help," because often when we ask for help, we think we've failed, but actually, the only way we succeed a lot of times, and the bravest thing we can do is to know that we need help doing something. And so but that's just A, not in our culture, and B, not in a culture for women, especially in around the world, but especially in our country for that.
That is so true.
You don't want to be the helpless female, or at least I don't.
And that is interesting now, because that's almost even gone to, I think, an extreme with some women where it's almost like, well, I can do everything for myself, and so it's like almost like you have to prove yourself.
I
in
hate
a way.
supermom, superwoman. I hate all those superlatives because it's so much pressure on women.
Yes. So it's a funny little place to find that balance. And what I found too, the more, and not in like I'm amazing and but like self-worth, I think has been a big thing for me, and I think it's a journey that you're on as well, because of what we've talked about. But because you do so many things for other people all the time, like, and so it's just, even hearing you talk about certain things, it just makes me feel sad that like you don't think you're worth people doing those for you. And that's like, even, like, that's crazy to think, because you would not even think half a second to do it to other people and for other people all the time. So just remembering that, because you are that person, so let other people be that person to you and show you, like, I'm just giving you what you give. And that's so hard, but I love seeing you practice that and be accepting of those things, because I know it's not easy. But yeah,
we were actually having this conversation last night? I'm all emotional. But as we mentioned in a past episode, like, my dog just passed away. Prior to that, like a year and a half ago, my little kitty passed away. Both devastated me. And I didn't tell people because I didn't want to bother people. Like, my cat passed away on Christmas Eve. And I was like, because Val and I had talked, but I was like, she's at home with her family and she's having such a good time. So how dare I rob her of that? And at the same time, I didn't want people's pity, because Matt, you were like, hey, just you get it over with and like post it on social. And I'm like, no, I don't want to hear like 100 people feeling sorry for me. That's the worst feeling. And then even like with Lonnie Kai, when she passed away, like, I waited a few days. The only reason Matt contacted me is because I was supposed to meet somebody on Zoom, my friend in Canada, and I had to cancel on her.
Thank
because
God.
That night, Lonnie Kai, I took her to the hospital, and my friend in Canada, I canceled her rehearsal. She messaged Matt. She's never met Matt except for in a Zoom, because again, she's in Canada. Messaged Matt to tell Matt something's going on. Go check on her. And that's the only reason he found out, because I wasn't going to tell him. And Val at the time was celebrating.
Tell them, please tell them why, because I need you to say it coming out of your mouth. Tell them what I was celebrating, why she couldn't call me.
What?
You know what, guys?
I love that you're all emotional, and she went, "This is some bullshit."
It was bullshit. Yeah. I told her. I was mad. I was like, let me tell you. I was like, don't you ever. It was like, I was celebrating like a month anniversary, y'all. And mind you, like, I was excited, but I was like, you have been my friend for how long? I was like, the fact that, like, you just texted me this long ass paragraph telling me your dog died. I was like, but you're at work. So I was like, you only get that out. But I was like, that is disrespectful. I was like, and I sent her a voice text, but I was like, I am not calling you on the phone right now because you said you were at work. But if you ever, because I'm like, you are my friend. Like, what are you interrupting? Nothing.
Nothing.
I know you really like him.
It doesn't.
And I was like,
Okay.
it's a happy moment. And I don't want to put my sad crap on you while you're happy and like ruin that for you.
Bananas. And it's funny because my boyfriend said he's very similar to you. He was like, oh, it's funny, like, I understand where she's coming from. And I'm like, I guess, but like, not your close friends. Like, you should, I guess, everybody's entitled to feel how they feel, and that's obviously how you processed a second situation. So that's your process, right? And now I know that. I guess for me it was very important for you to know that, like, no, like, it's okay, like, there's nothing to whatever, unless my parent is dying or something, that I'm not gonna want to be there for you, or that you can't call, but that is who she is. Like, that's exactly the thing. It's like you felt guilty.
I'm a master of guilt and being a burden, because I was a burden growing up.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm always feeling like I'm a burden on other people when I'm telling you about my problems or something is going on with me. So I just keep it to myself.
Yeah. And that, even just hearing that, I was like, and I was like, you were alone, like,
But you know what though? That voice text meant so much to me. Like, I appreciate that, and I appreciate your friendship, and of course your friendship too. I'm sorry, I'm trying to balance like my mouth on the mic and looking at Matt at the same time. It's very challenging. But unfortunately, stuff like these events, they do happen, but it does make you realize, like, you two were the two people that were so concerned. But yeah, it felt good knowing that you guys did care that much to
be there for you.
Yeah.
I think I believe the most human thing we can do in life is validate another human's pain. Full stop. And so if you're not able to do that, why are you here? And I think that because we can validate the joy and we can live in that, but it's actually validating. Not even, sometimes you don't even have to agree with it, but just saying, I see it. I'm sorry that you are going through this. I mean, we both got it in this case because we both had pets, but even if I don't get it, I still see it. It's important. And I see you. And so I think that and I think I can be like, when my parents got divorced in high school, people would say, how are you, Matt? How are you doing? And I'd be like, I'm good. So that was me. Like, I'm teacher's pet, all that kind of stuff. So I relate to that a lot. And I think it honestly changed me a lot when my dad died and I had to talk about it on our podcast, because I tell stories about my family all the fucking time because my family's nutso and I love them. But I told all the stories of my dad, then I can't. And so my podcast and our partner were like, well, how do we do that? He's like, well, just talk about it. And I didn't want to talk about it at first because I didn't want so many people coming at me. I was like, I don't want to be sad, Matt. I'm a comedian. I'm funny. I don't like people listen to our show. And so, but it was overwhelming, but I mean overwhelming in a positive way, the like joy and the concern, because what it did and what it does whenever we see someone else's pain, it made me realize I wasn't alone in this experience and I wasn't the only one, because you feel like the best thing that someone said to me was, I'm so sorry that you and I are in the same club right now, because it's a club none of us want to be in. And I was like, I'm in a club. I'm not the only person going through the death of a parent. Like, and so that's just, what you went through with your aunt was like, that is, I remember like my dog having attacks, being stressed out and taking to the vet and going through all of that. And it's a club, and so it's just because isolation is just something that it breeds disease. So it's just wonderful to connect.
Which is why like this podcast was so important for me. It's just that it's like being able to hear people that you might see on Instagram, and you see these highlight reels, and you see that hustle mentality and that like I got it all together and I'm doing all the things and there's another photo shoot, look, I look so beautiful,
There are some actor friends that they post everything they do. They're like, I called 5 people for me. I'm like, okay, boo. I get it. You want to show, you want someone to see your work. We see it. I get it.
Yeah. And look, more power to you, right? But yeah, and we've talked about this all the time, is like being able to have those things of just like, yeah, like you might have seen us on TV, movies, doing the things. But like, it's as hard as it is to have those conversations and not be show the part that everybody's not used to seeing you. Because I'm similar. Like, it's like, I'm the strong friend. I'm the positive person all the time. And I actually, funny, my ex-husband once said to me, like, I wasn't feeling great or whatever. And he's like, but you're always the positive one. And I was like, that's so unfair. Like,
that's some bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, because you get to be depressed and have all this trauma and all the things. And that's okay because that's what you've whatever. And so, and I'm just now always having to be the person to just, everything's okay. And I'm like, that's why, things got exhausting. But I love that this can happen and we can talk about like, damn, that was so shitty, or that was so great. Like, you wrote these movies and you didn't even go to school for writing, and like they're being made, like, all the things, right? And then being real and having an insight on real life, that's sometimes so hard to
and all
talk
this
about.
from talking about the word no, meaning that because when it's like an improv. I did a lot in like the first rule of improv is if somebody comes up to a scene and says, hey, I'm going to go to 7-Eleven, do you want to come? If I say no, then the scene stops. There's nothing else we can do. And I think that's so true in life. Where improv, it's that rule of, I made a joke about it before we started, like, yes, and. But if I said, yes, I want to go to 7-Eleven and let's rob it. Well, now we have a scene. Now we have something to work with. And that's so true in life that, like, here you talked about, like, being a guilt and being burdened. But by sharing how you felt by that, kind of releasing that no, was another level of connection as friends and as listeners. So it's a yes and to life. Yeah. I do want to ask, it's not my show, but I'm curious because you both are actors. Yeah. Is there ever a role that you wish you would have said no to? That you were on set and you were like, that you could talk about?
I mean, I don't get as many offers as Val does yet. So if I get a role, I'm like, what?
Well, because I think as actors, we always are like, yes, I'll take that role. I take that role. But like when you were starting out, like I once did, like it was like this whole student game show, and I said, yeah, I'll host this student game show, and it was like at a school thing, and it was like I was hosting, these kids were running around. Some guy fell and like broke his foot, but they were going to continue doing it. And so I'm the host of the show and he's like trying to play the game and he's whimpering and crying. And I'm like, and that's been Run It Off, guys, or whatever it was called. I was like, please, if I'm ever famous, don't let this show in the light of day. It looks like it was terrible. Terrible.
I definitely did a movie where it was like the first lead that I got. And it was like horror type movie, and it just, I was looking at it when I read the script, I was like, first lead, it didn't look like it was going to be, like stay in the indie market. So I was like, not a lot of people see it. It's cool. Like I could fail at this and it's not going to be huge. But it looked fun, right? I get to do like some cool stunts or whatever. My lead actor was a lawyer, so he wasn't even an actor. And so so when you get to set and you start doing these scenes with this person who doesn't act, I was like, ooh. And then we had this one scene in a car where I had to like kiss him, and he was like super sweaty, like already kissing with strangers, like whatever, but like sweaty, y'all. And I'm a sweater, so I can say that with all respect because as a woman, I sweat a lot. But this man was dripply, and I was like, oh shit, like that's the worst. So that's like I'll never.
Did he even have the lip sweat when
yes,
you kissed him?
all
Oh,
of it. And then it was lower budget, so it's not like they weren't doing touch-ups like normally, like in between scenes before you do it again. Somebody's in there taking care of sweat. Yeah, oh, it was so bad. I was like, and the poster's actually cute, but I was. The poster's cute. I look cute in the poster.
You like the picture's cute.
At least the poster's cute, but I was like, I hope nobody ever sees that.
See, okay, but wait, hold on, because now that we're bringing hosting, like I've done my share of hosting stuff. So I did do a show where I dragged somebody into it. That's like, they're really well-known choreographers, because the person who hired me was like, yeah, we're doing something for LA Fashion Week. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I got my friends involved, and they're like big time, okay? So they got all these dancers to do it. I'm a former dancer as well, not that matters. And I show up to the address, and it was at a bowling alley at LA Live. And I was like, what's happening? Oh, it's Fashion Week. And Fashion Week is in this area. And to celebrate, we always do karaoke. And I was like, oh my God, I just got my friends to do all this shit for free because they had their own clothing line. So it was their opportunity to showcase it at LA Fashion Week. But it
really was just the bowling alley
and you
adjacent.
could tell all the dancers were like real annoyed when they saw the venue. And then when and I'm like emceeing it, trying to like, hey, here walking down the runway is this?
Not walking, rolling.
Right.
Just walking down a bowling alley.
Yeah.
And that makes it stings a little harder when you
involve other people.
You're
Yeah.
like, ugh.
And then my last one is because I've also worked as a makeup artist, guys. And I showed up for this movie. It was an indie movie. And I had been doing this girl's makeup for a while. She's a TV actress. And I was like, yeah, I'll show up and do your thing. And they had a nudie scene. And I was like, oh, okay. And, in Hollywood, and this is low budget, guys, so they don't have the fancy nude underwear. It was like they took a maxi pad, stuck it inside out, took the sticky part of the maxi pad and stuck it to her little hoo-hoo. And that was her protection from his, And then they put a sock on it.
You're like 12.
On her
Vagina
vagina.
and penis.
They just put a sock over his dick?
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't that normal? Is that normal? What
I don't know.
There's a nude one that's like specially for this, but they
were
just straight up used like an athletic sock.
Okay.
And so they were doing their thing, whatever, and he's supposed to be sweaty, so they're like makeup, and I have my little, it's like a silicone spray, and I had to like spray it on his butt, but then you got to spread it around, so I'm like tap. Okay, we're good, guys. We're good. I'm out. But I kept on having to touch up his butt.
Oh, I would say yes to
Oh,
that,
but
not no.
He was cute. No.
I don't even remember. I just know that I was like, oh my God, this is so awkward.
That is so funny.
Tap,
Tap,
right?
tap.
Exactly. Okay, let's just go wash my hand. I'll be right back.
I'm learning a lot on this. I'm so glad
Right?
y'all
And
have
it started
me.
out with all these things we found out about you. And I'm so glad you didn't say no to this and you had time because I know you're so busy. And all of y'all, I'm glad that you didn't say no to us and you invited us into your ears, into your computers, whatever you do, because this is so much fun. And I hope you're enjoying it as much as we do. We have a Patreon, and so soon enough, we're going to be putting more information.
Yeah, so yes, please subscribe, all kinds of stuff that we'll have going on. And one of the perks that we are going to have is allowing you guys, we're going to do a raffle to come co-host with us via Zoom. So if you have a topic it's like burning that you want to talk about, then,
And leave a review.
Yeah,
Leave a review on
there
Apple
you go.
Podcasts, Spotify. It's a big thing. That helps.
Okay.
That helps them a lot. As in your
Thank
podcast, if you leave a review, it's a big deal.
Okay.
and that's why we have him here. Okay, I think that wraps up today's show. We're running out of time, but if you want to like quickly give us that quote to send us on our way.
The quote, so I think I might have forgotten it, but hold on, I'm gonna try.
About no, guys. A yes and a no.
So yes and no. So dang it, it's something like success.
So that's today's podcast, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Alikona Bradford.
Finding success is not through a yes. Finding success.
That is not the quote.
You know what?
She's fired.
Something like that. That's all you gotta know.
Okay, and cue the outro music.
Love
Okay.
y'all.
All right, guys. Big thank you. Adios. Fail.
I've been thinking about it all episode.
all episode too. Like you were saying so
I'm gonna have it memorized. I'm an actor.
I'm terrible at that, but I didn't. You were like, we were even like talking. You were going, and I could see you like,
Yeah, I was trying to remember. I had it gone.